All right, welcome back. Okay, so while I was at the National Assembly, well, I had a brief conversation with Honorable Olufemi Ogunbanwo. He is a Nigerian politician. Of course, he is the member representing the good people of Ijebu Ode and Ijebu Northeast, as well as Odugbolu Federal Constituency in the 10th House of Representative. And of course, he did talk about a number of things with him. We moved from state creation to, his reaction to the defilement punishment, stiffer penalty for defilement and of course rape. We also talked about the creation of Ijebu State. This has been a huge conversation. Now, state creation has been a very huge conversation, which, like I said, at earlier time when I was opening, I did say that, do we exactly need new states? Do these states have what it takes to cater for themselves? These are questions that, for someone like myself, I get to ask. But anyway, Honorable Olufemi did answer some of these questions, gave his thoughts on state creation, gave his thoughts on the defilement punishment, also gave his thoughts on a number of things happening, what he does with his constituents, how he relates with them, projects and the likes. Well, at this point, I think that it's time for us to just have that conversation. This is Nass Watch. Don't go anywhere.
It is so great to have you join us, Honorable. I'm definitely sure we're going to have a great conversation.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right. I think we're going to first of all start with it's been a very eventful week at the National Assembly, talking about bills, deliberations, in and out, several meetings. And there is one that is most pressing. I know two conversations talking about state creation and that of the criminal code, which of course was sent to the Senate, but it first came from the House of Representatives. Now, I would like to say that I want to get your thoughts on where you stand when it comes to the stiffer punishment that was meted out and decided upon at the Senate, talking about 10 years for rape and defilement, life imprisonment. Where do you stand in that?
As a parent, anything that would discourage defilement of our infants or children, of course, one will support it. Whatever steps, whether you call it stiff or stiffer punishment, or any step that could be taken to just discourage this abuse, I'm in support.
Having said that, let's now move over. Before we start talking about your activities, representing your constituency, let's now talk about state creation. I mean, before we started this interview, we're talking about Ijebu State, and one would like, it sounds strange, but these are conversations that are already being held. At this point in Nigeria, we're not expecting to have more states because we have 36 states and the capital that we have not been able to, adequately take care of. So adding more states, there are a number of things to look at. So when it comes to state creation, before we're talking about Ijebu State, what is your positioning when it comes to state creation? Because it is a huge conversation right now.
My position aligns with my people's position. I represent the people of Ijebu here, part of Ijebu, because I represent the local government, Ijebu Ode, Odugbolu, Ijebu Northeast. And my people have been advocating, agitating, and demanding for this state creation for many years back now. Even because of the agitation, the Ekiti state was created, and many other states, Delta State, before now we have been on it. And our own case is premised on justice, fairness and equity. As at 1923, we have provinces in Nigeria, about 20 of them. Most of those provinces today have become states, except only Ijebu. It's only Ijebu province and Abeokuta province that have remained a state, the two of them together. Every other province, even Oyo province, out of Oyo province today we have Osun State, we have Oyo State, many other provinces like that. So what people are saying that in the interest of justice, fairness, let us have our state, and the resources are there. When we talk of population, proposed Ijebu State will be about 3. The population will be about 3 million, above 3 million, or 5, And when we look at Ekiti, Nasarawa, which other state, Bayelsa, they are not bothered what the population of proposed Ijebu will be. And the resources, we have the resources.
Yes, you've spoken so much about resources because, of course, a lot of things plays a huge role when talking about creating more states. Do you think that Ijebu has enough resources that can take the people? Because let's say, for example, Lagos State. There have been complaints, unofficial complaints by Lagos State that what they generate, it's
not enough.
No, it is enough,
okay.
And other people have to, chop from it as well.
Like which people? The people that migrate to Lagos?
No. I mean other states now.
Okay.
So Ijebu, does it have what it takes to generate enough to cater for itself?
Definitely, we have the deep seas there, and we have food that has not even been tapped into. And what we have in Lekki, this refinery was to be sited in the waterside in my area. It was supposed to be started within the proposed Ijebu state before it was moved to Lekki. So we have the resources. So it's not issue of, it's not that we are going to depend on the federation allocation alone. This agitation has nothing to do. It's not just a mere entitlement crusade. We have the resources, and the Ijebu people. Ijebu people, before we make up this demand, we have done our own research, and we know that we can stand. And if other states, I don't want to sound rude now by mentioning some states.
No, mention.
No, I wouldn't do that. But we don't state that even when we compare to Ijebu, the proposed Ijebu, they don't even have half of what we have.
When this conversation came up in the floor of the House of Reps specifically, one of the honorables did say that one of the states is bigger than 3 states in the south.
Okay, it provoked. So I want to avoid that here now. That is bigger than Bayelsa and some other.
Do you believe that?
I wouldn't know because it didn't show us the map or the basis for. Well, later he apologized and he withdrew.
Of course.
So he withdrew the statement. So I wouldn't know whether the proposed Ibadan state will be bigger than. But like I've been telling people, what they need in Oyo State maybe it's change of name, because the other argument is that there was Ibadan province before as well, which has not become a state. But in Ibadan we have the state capital and we have the seat of government here. Maybe the mistake they made was naming it Oyo State. Maybe it should have been named Ibadan State. So what they really need is change of name, not creation of a new state, unlike we the Ijebus, that they have not even created a state out of old Ijebu province at all. They have only merged 2 provinces together, Abeokuta province and Ijebu province.
Can you help Nigerians get to understand some of these resources that Ijebu state is going to be banking on if it eventually scales through?
If we eventually have our state, apart from federal allocation, I've just told you that we have deep support, that we have not even tapped. We have oil, and we have not even tapped into clay and many other mineral resources.
And these resources are enough to cater for the people and the state.
We have state already created that they don't even have half of what I'm talking about. We have states, but I don't want to sound rude by mentioning some of these states that they rely solely on federal allocation. We will not be solely dependent on federal allocation when eventually we are created, and we hope that very soon. You
hope that it's going to be created?
No, it will, of course. The Ijebu state will be created. It may take time. It may even be sooner than we are expecting. But okay. One day, very soon,
we'll keep our fingers crossed.
We will welcome you to Ijebu State.
I'll be glad to be there and have a celebration.
Very, very soon.
Okay, let's now talk about, away from state creation, let's talk about your activities, in your constituency. I do know that you have really done a number of things for your people as an effective representative. Can you just give us an overview of your activities and how you are able to draw yourself closer to the people? Because one of the problems that when we have programs like this, you hear people complain that I don't even know who my representative is. We don't get to see him, or her. We don't hear until when they are coming back to, for another time. But I think that for you, you've been doing your best. But then what are these things that you've done to, bring yourself closer to the people?
Firstly, I point out that as a legislator, our main duty is to work on this law, to make law where necessary amendments are to be made, just like this criminal code that you cited,
yes,
to make sure that they are reviewed. But beyond that, there are other things we have to do, especially when we look at the state of the nation now, or the state of the economy. We have the youth unemployment there, where we have issue of also bad roads, inadequate infrastructure. So we have to support. We can't leave everything to the executive. So we have to go beyond the core duty of legislature now to see how we can help our youths in terms of development. That is how we now decided that we should be embarking from time to time, maybe on what is now called empowerment projects. And that is what many of us do from time to time. At times, some of these resources is not even from government allocation, because when people do say we are giving constituency project for 2024, we are giving 200 million constituency project. Not that they will give us this money. That's what many people don't know. Not that they will hand over 200 million to you. They will only ask you to recommend projects, not worth more than 200 million to be handled by federal government agencies. You only recommend projects, and these projects, like in my own case, we use it to repair recommended roads in the 3 local governments. So
was that the main concern of your people?
Road is part of it. I've mentioned it. The road is part of it. But beyond that, we have to embark on other projects. When I was campaigning, I promised my constituents that if they can go and engage themselves in artisan training, like sewing, fashion designing, I promise that I will assist them with equipment. So it's a promise made that has to be fulfilled. So when I go out here, I have to look into how to. And there are a lot of people. I think I've distributed.
Why did you make those promises? Knowing fully well the primary responsibility of
we still need to assist our people. They are our children. They are our brothers and sisters. When you know that everybody is looking for white collar job, and we all know that these jobs are not readily available. We have many graduates roaming the streets. So you advise them, why don't you engage yourself until you get that job? Not that you won't get one day. Why don't you engage yourself? Maybe in tailoring, fashion designing, whatever.
Basically skills.
The skill that they will tell you, if you engage in this thing, how do you get the equipment? Say, okay, let's see what can be done. In my case, I have distributed more than 300 sewing machines. We also advise people go into farming. We will assist with equipment. We will assist with little we can. Last year, I gathered people together and said, if you can just start from small scale, I will give them the little we could afford. About 1,500. So we actually put it into practice.
Okay, Honorable, let's move away from that a bit. Most times when we talk about empowerment for our constituencies, I asked that question because we've seen many of your colleagues, representatives, give out very outrageous items in the name of empowerment. wheelbarrow, cutlass, one tuber of yam. Name them. Honorable, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I've never seen a member, a legislator giving out tuber of yam or wheelbarrow. All these are social media.
Honorable, are you sure about that?
I can tell you that no member will ever give out tuber of yam as maybe just to. It's not impossible that during festival, when you give out yam, it's food now. Is it not food?
Okay, so if you want to give
So if I give a bag of rice to people, it's not the same thing like yam.
It's not compared to a tuber of yam.
But that's just to support people in need. So it's not empowerment, but it's support.
So how about have we looked at a bigger picture instead of we still depending on the old aspect, which is skill acquisition is very good, but have we looked at the evolving world, the changing world? You did mention going back to the farm. Some of these people just don't want to go to the farm. What if they want something else?
Why is it that they don't want to go back to farm?
Everybody mustn't be in the farm, Honorable.
At the same time, everybody must not be in the office.
Some people want to do tech. Some people want to explore the world and be innovative.
That is what
technology.
I said, that until that opportunity will come, until they will get such opportunity, I think they should engage themselves with something. Be it barbing, be it fashion designing, be it tailoring and whatever. Until they will get to that, and they can still be doing this one on a part-time basis, even when they get that office job.
Okay, and earlier you talked about allocations not coming as it's supposed to come, and you talked about the fact that sometimes you just have to try your best to do some of these activities because you've made promises to the people. This might be a very dicey one, but do you think that it was the promises that you made to your people that made them voted for you?
Apart from the promises made too, my people, we have been together. Even when I became House of Representatives, nearly every weekend, I travel home. So I live with them. Not that I will stay in the city and look them in the... No, so they know me, and I know them. And I know that I've been staying with them. I schooled there. If when I was working in the neighboring state, I used to travel nearly every weekend. So we know ourselves. So for many reasons, and I've been serving them in many capacities before. Various capacity, the Development Association, I was an officer. I was once a commissioner in the state. So they know me. So and it could be part of the assessment and the opinion they have formed. It won't be because of that promise of equipment alone. But it's also part of it. When you ask somebody to go and train, to acquire a skill, and you promise that you give them equipment. Of course, they want such person to get to the office so that they can have the equipment. And to the glory of God, we have been trying to support. We have really tried without boasting that to make sure we make them happy. And we continue to do.
As we move forward, I mean, in representing your people, what are those things that you'd want to do for them? And also, what are the ways that you've been able to get feedbacks? Because it's one thing to represent your people in the house and, speak on bills, propose bills that you think will benefit them, right? And there's another thing for you to actually get feedback to say, okay, what our representative is talking about is for our interest. How do you get feedback, and how are you sure that the things you deliberate on in the house really, really goes to life? Yes.
Well, I have told you that I still live with them. So we interact daily or weekly basis, because when I go home for weekend, they will visit. And when we have social functions too, we meet and we discuss, we review the situation. But beyond that, we have stakeholders engagement.
Okay.
Where we will report back on our activities, and we also seek for the idea or opinion on what we are doing. There are things that we will say, this is what we want to do. They will tell us, no, that's not priority for now and make alternative suggestions. So we still engage. It's on a regular basis. So to some people, they don't even believe. At times they ask among themselves that, do I really go to Abuja? Because on Monday, you tell them you are going to Abuja. Friday, they are seeing you again. Or if when there is a function during the week, now I'm prepared to go back to my base for the weekend. On Monday or Tuesday, you see me again. We have always been interacting and I've been relating with them. So it's not that we just sit here in Abuja and decide for them. No, we seek their input to what we are doing.
Okay. As we get set to wrap up, Honorable, I have this very one question which I'd like to get your thoughts. A lot of people, how would you describe generally the situation in Nigeria right now? Some persons believe that the 10th Assembly is not speaking the mind of the people. They believe that some of the bills being passed, some of the deliberations being made are not exactly speaking the mind of the people.
You just said what about this bill now that was...
This was
this bill that
really applauded.
Eh?
The criminal code, was really applauded.
You are saying we are not speaking the mind of the...
This is one out of many.
Which other one have we passed that did not reflect the wishes of the people? We were not elected to come and fight the executive. There is separation of power, no doubt, but the principle of separation of power is that the three arms of government should also collaborate, not that we should be fighting one another.
But isn't it also there to checkmate certain things? Not everything that comes to you that you accept.
Of course, it's not everything that comes to us that we accept here.
Okay, let's put it this way. A lot of Nigerians have complained that when certain requests are brought to the House, especially by the president, the House does not take its time to deliberate upon it before accepting.
How would they know that we have not been taking our time? But there is the assembly together with us. These are things that when the requests come, we will discuss. We still refer to committees. At times we conduct public engagement. That we invited ministers and others to come and defend this request. And we give stakeholders opportunity.
So would you say that the recent borrowing of the president is justifiable?
Do you think when such a request comes before the House, we will just pass it without looking to the purpose of the request?
You're here to answer that.
But once we discover, once we realize that the request is justifiable, we have to approve it.
And so what you're saying now is all the borrowing requests made by Mr. President, they're all justifiable based on the information available.
They are for specific purposes. So people can just sit down outside there and be deciding that they borrow. We too as individual, we borrow money for specific purposes. So the president, we will not approve what we believe, what we are not confused within ourselves or as an institution that is different. We know that whatever we are doing today, prosperity is there. The interest of our children. When we are borrowing money, if you borrow money now to build a house, tomorrow the value of the house will
increase.
It will increase. So it's not better. When you need to borrow to set up a company to engage people, or every request coming from the Mr. President, they are always purpose stated. And we look into this. So we have committed and we look into this on loan and ASA loan. We will still refer. So that as we just announced, this is a request from the Mr. President. You will hear that the next thing is to say approved as requested. No. Even for the last request, we are still deliberating on it.
Is it going to be approved or not?
I wouldn't know. The committee will still recommend. They will look into it. They will call the ministers or directors concerned to come and justify. If they are confused, they will recommend to us. Therefore, there will still be, we will still deliberate on it, not reciting their recommendation.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I would leave Nigerians to decide that and to judge that, because I mean, that I'm just here to ask
No,
questions regarding to that as we get set to wrap up.
We are really making progress.
Right, okay.
We are making progress, and it's a destination that we will arrive at.
Okay.
We will arrive at the promised land.
Thank you so much, Honorable.
And that was a really brief, not so brief conversation with Honorable Olufemi, of course, Ogunbanwo. He is a member representing Ijebu-Ode, Ijebu Northeast, and of course, Odugbolu Federal Constituency in the 10th House of Representatives. Now, I hope that the people of this constituency have been able to listen to their, representative. If everything he said that he has done for you is correct, well, it's up to you to probably give him a thumb or speak up and say no. Part of the things he said are actually not real. Now, he did make some very important points we just want to touch on before we run out of the studio this beautiful evening. Now, we did talk about the issue of some lawmakers giving out tubers of yam, which the lawmaker said that he has never seen any lawmaker distribute tubers of yam, a tuber of yam to his constituents. Now, it's been happening, and sometimes they call it relief or a Christmas package or empowerment constituency projects or empowerment projects, whatever name they want to call it, probably during festive season. Now, we do have a lawmaker which of course distributed 1,200 bags of rice and 3,000 tubers of yams. Now, when you distribute 3,000 tubers of yam, how do you expect it to be shared? How? How do you expect it to be shared, especially when it has to also be distributed to about 30 wards in his constituency across the three? How then are you going to distribute this? Well, I think I would not want us to emphasize so much on that. But if Olufemi says he has never seen any lawmaker distribute a tuber of yam before, I just gave him one case out of so many. Some even give out cutlass, some give out hose. And the question I'm always asking is it only farming that the people in your constituency know how to do? Or do you just want everyone to go to the farm? Yes, we are preaching about people, prioritizing agriculture and the likes, but there are other ways, there are other things that if you really listen to your people, spend more time with them, you will get to know what they really want. And most times it goes beyond just going to the farm, all right? And of course, he was right when he said the primary duties of lawmakers are to make laws, represent their constituents' interests, and provide government oversight. The real question is your lawmaker representing your interests, is speaking up for you at the house when it is necessary, and of course, are they at the forefront of deliberations, especially on things that affect their people or Nigerians at large? Is your lawmaker very, very vocal? We have some lawmakers who year to year, month to month, they don't say a word. They just sit there in the house. Some don't even come don't even come for plenary. Now, before I run out of the studio, there is one particular aspect which is a huge concern, and which I would just ask the question and pause right there. Why is it so difficult to assess our lawmakers? Why have they made it so difficult to assess them? Anyway, I would leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on Nass Watch this beautiful Friday evening. Don't forget that a repeat of the program will come up on Sunday at about 7. And of course, next Friday, I will be here with a fresh edition of Nass Watch. And of course, you never can tell which representative or which senator I would be sitting down with. I might just likely bump into one of them right there at the National Assembly. Until then, my name is Cynthia Agua. Do follow Rapid TV across our social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, X. We're on TikTok as well. Our YouTube is very active to watch all our programs, and our website is 24 hours running. The news will come up at about 8 o'clock. Keep watching Rapid Television. Good night.